what crazy stuff have you got coming up? Because I just want to be part of it. And I think, sometimes in life, you just have to look at what's going on around you and think, I need to, just put yourself among the people that are likely to create the best opportunities. And they're not the ones that are necessarily perceived as comfortable, or the things that, you're going to, it's finding people that are going to push you or push me. That's what I go for. Who are the people that are really going to push me outside? Because all the greatest things, things that I think that have pushed me on are always from things that I perceive to be the most uncomfortable at the time. And what do you think about that?
Well, I think there's a danger in comfort. We hear about comfort zone, and to me it conjures up an image of a large armchair with lots of cushions and blankets, and you're sort of suffocated, you can't move anywhere. The danger is with that is that we're not in a place of learning, we're not in a place of growth if we're just static within something more. And I think one of the problems is we get distracted by an external presentation of what success might be. So there are, in our society, there are symbols of success. There are the car, the house, the watch, the whatever it may be. So I don't think that's success. I think success is an internal thing. Success is you being a look in the mirror deep down inside you and be happy with what you see inside. And so success isn't an external measure of material stuff. It's about your element of contentment, your element of value add. Now, what benefit have you given to the world in the last day, the last 24 hours? And I think if we change that measure and look at success as an internal element, it changes your view on the world completely. It takes all the pressure off. Because I see people who are trapped in this system of following symbols which are external to themselves, which are essentially meaningless, completely meaningless. Whereas actually people who are really centered and can live to themselves and be themselves, gosh, it's exciting people to be with, because they have a sort of a natural grounding and a natural enthusiasm and a natural compassion as well, because they're more cognizant of other people's needs, because they're aware of their own. I think we need to change the definition of success. Success has got to be contentment, no more than that. And that's an internal thing.
I mean, this is such a personal thing for me. Like, for many years, like just going through this feeling like I was two people, like somebody who's aspiring for all that crap. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I like having a nice place to live and all that stuff. But and I knew, I knew it was all crap, but was doing very little about it, and just got into all sorts of, I was drinking too much and all that negative stuff that ultimately what I realised comes from comfort. Comfort got me fat, got me to drink, got me to stop doing things that made me like energetic and lively.
Yeah. And the danger was actually you weren't comfortable within. So psychologically, you weren't in the comfortable place. You were actually outside of your comfort zone psychologically. Yeah. And so you surround yourself by what is a perception of what comfort can be. Now, what you are doing now will define you, not what you did before, because this is extraordinary. And because you're living, if you like, outside, from inside yourself and outside. Your whole rationale now is to benefit other people. And that's what gives you your energy and power now, because you're making the difference, and that makes you feel bloody great. And that's superb.
I've got it down to it. It's like holistically wealthy, right? So
nice.
It's like that's my thing now. I've got more energy. I've always been driven, but I was always driving myself out of crap situations. Like, I want that, and it was all. Whichever way I want to try to dress it up, I was like a functioning alcoholic. I was. I mean, let's be honest about it. So driven that I was finding success while wading through treacle. And I feel like I've just had that idea of being holistically wealthy. So, focus on, get comfortable with yourself. I loved your comment. I've got to admit, it's one of the things that really changed my mindset. We had lunch. Remember the first time we had lunch, we met up, and you said to me when you were talking about doing compassionate leadership, and I was still having a big battle in my own mind, and you said about the new billionaire, which is to help a billion people. Right. And that is now my mantra for PTI. I want to help, positively impact lives of a billion people. Changed my life. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
really, sorry, I'm. So what? I mean, there's so many. There's so many things. I mean, one of the things I really want to know from you, because I want to share it with other people. I get the distinct impression, particularly with all of the problems that are going on in the world, that people, and when I say people, I mean me, you know, just everyone, right? You know, there is a real feeling that the world has been, or the world is set up for people to fail. And you know, and again, you know, I can understand that because it's a really, and it gets more and more challenging by the day. But what do you think? I mean, you've been, you know, all of these expeditions. You know, you've been in the Navy, you've been an officer, you've been you know, you've had all these great experiences. What would you say to people that are the greatest skills that people could attain and develop to win in a really difficult world?
Okay. Whether they're skills or whether it's a mindset, when I answer this question, is an interesting thing because it's around attitude, I think, is the most important element. It's also defining success. And I think this is one of the problems we've got. We've got a society where we've defined success through external, extrinsic, essentially worthless material measures. And GDP, even as a national measure, is meaningless. So your life is only how much you produce physical things or a service. That's rubbish. Your life is around you and contentment. It's the value you add to other people. It's the joy you bring to other people. It's how we look at it all. There's a lovely image, if you like, of 3 concentric circles with economy in the middle, then society, then the ecosystem. When all is in balance, what should happen is that the economy serves society, which then serves the ecosystem, and we become guardians of this beautiful planet. We've created an imbalance where actually society is a servant to the economy. The economy is not serving us, we're serving it. And actually the beneficiaries of the way we set up the economy at the moment is such a small handful of people that actually the billions and billions of others are just slaves to the system. And so the danger is we're manipulating the ecosystem to enable that to happen too, which is why we're in this horrendous environmental problem as well. So not only is the society broken because we've come trapped in it, the impact of that is that at a human level, we're in psychological conflict, we're not happy people. You think of all the the road rage, the Twitter trolls and this sort of stuff, and this expression of angst and conflict internally is what it is. It's not the human state where we should be. We're born with love. We're not born with all this hate and anger. It's come through what we've created. So I think the first thing we need to do is to reposition what success is. Success is you being content. Success is an internal concept. Success is the value you bring to other people. What I find with people who find themselves in the worst place, or mentally and maybe financially as well, and my advice to them is go out and help other people. And they say, well, what do you mean? I've come for help for me. I say, yeah, go and help other people. I can guarantee once you start helping other people, all that pressure will lift because you're no longer stuck in your own sort of stress and strain. You're out there adding value. And as you add value, so you get fed too. So I think the first thing is to redefine what success is. And success isn't a large yacht and a large house. No reason why we shouldn't enjoy the fruit of our spoils, but what we mustn't do is get lost into it. So if we can change an attitude first, is great. So success isn't about my material well-being. Success is about my psychological well-being, if you like, my inner sense of who I am. But success is about how we can help and work with each other and be compassionate with each other. So the attitude, rather than the skills I think we need in this new world, the first one is we need to be truly aware of who we are, the real person, not what society says we should be. So, you know, I've worked on the boards of quite a few large corporations over the years as well, and in all sorts of businesses. And what I'm seeing is people who've got to the top of a broken system aren't necessarily the happiest people on the planet either. Helping them rediscover their 8-year-old child, their 8-year-old self, because that's the real Dan Brown, that's the real Manley Hopkinson, that's the real Mrs. Miggins. There's that 8-year-old child. Bring that back up to the surface and help them live that. That's the most important thing. So once you've got out that awareness, then the next bit is have courage. They say that a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And so what I mean by that is have the courage to take that step. when you started PCI, it took a big, courageous step to start with, to think, I'm going to make this happen. Did you know you were going to succeed? Did you know? Of course you didn't.
Yeah.
And that takes courage to do that. You know, when I went to the North Pole, I'd never been to the North Pole before. Did I know I could do it? No, I sort of had an inner sense that I'm going to give it my best shot. Worst case scenario, you know, I die of a miserable death in a tent and frozen and eaten by a polar bear. But you know, what else could?
But you still would have lived. You still would have enjoyed it. Yeah. Well, not enjoying getting eaten by a polar bear. But
Well, yeah, there are different ways to go, and I suppose at least you know you've added value to that polar bear's life. So that's a positive, isn't it? So you know, so have that courage to believe in yourself. Have that courage to start your own journey. Very briefly, there's a lovely book, and it was a blog written by an Australian palliative nurse called Bronnie Ware. You may have heard of it. She was holding the hands of people who are dying and all sorts of ages and reasons. And what she noticed, that there was a common refrain, there was a common conversation on regret. And so she started blogging about it, and her blog was extraordinary, many, many million followers. Then she wrote a book, and the book is called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. The first regret, and no matter one's social status, no matter where people came from the world, was, I wished I'd had the courage to live my own life.
Yeah.
That's got to be the most profound thing. If you project forward to the day before you die and come back and look at your life, you want to say, that was my life. Yeah. I lived it. I had the courage to do that. The third one then is confidence. So you've got this awareness of who you really are, the courage to live your own life and make that step. The third one is confidence. Confidence in yourself. That's a trusting yourself that you're going to make it work, whatever it is. And confidence in the people around you as well, which is the last thing. The fourth value, if you like, that I think is so important is joy. I think we've lost the joy of life.
Yeah.
I always say that, you know, life is about the journey. You know, destination of life is death. That doesn't sound like fun.
No.
But it might be. I don't know. But it doesn't sound like fun at the moment. So I'm going to focus on the journey and really, really enjoy the journey. And if we're enjoying the moment, I'm loving this conversation now with you.
Yeah, so
this is the only real thing in the world. So let's enjoy this bit. Let's not worry about the future. Let's not fret about the past. Let's enjoy the journey. So we've got this awareness of who we are, the courage to live our own life and make a step, the confidence to believe in ourselves, the joy of the journey. And then the final one to me is compassion. And compassion is understanding other people's journeys too and helping them on that same path. And I think if we can help the world, the whole world adopt that attitude, if you like, those core values, then we're all fine.